I and many members of this delegation are horrified but not surprised by the DOJ report on Lowell. Many of
an inmate being beaten. This is News 6 at 11. Getting results. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. The arrests come about 2 weeks after the video was taken. News 6.
The Department of Corrections officials say what happened in this grainy cell phone video posted on YouTube was criminal. According to affidavits filed in court today, investigators say 3 officers at the state correctional facility in Claremont are now charged in the attack of this inmate on July 8th. Arrest reports show 2 of them, officers Hunter Lingo and Joshua Petersilge, are charged with malicious battery. Captain Milton Gass is charged with perjury for not being completely forthcoming about what happened in his written reports about the incident.
All power to the people! All power to the people!
Boots on the ground! Officers striking an inmate who's restrained. A warning now, this video is disturbing, and as Andrew Horansky tells us, it once again raises questions on jail oversight.
It is March 2018.
At this very moment, they're trying to limit your access to the courts. The Florida Department of Corrections is trying to end law libraries, trying to take all the resources and digitize them, and then not allow you access if you have DRs. This is happening.
And place him in isolation, restrained for reasons unknown. Words appear to be exchanged before Evans appears to turn off his body camera, then strike to Bose again and again. Dugan enters next and hits him too. Action so severe the inmate suffers a concussion.
Bro, you know I don't give y'all problems like that, bro. I do not give you problems like that, Shorts, bro. You know, I mean to, but then I swear to God.
Whitehead, what are you doing, man?
What did I do, man?
I ain't never had a problem. Why you gonna spit on us? Sergeants come around, you know how this is. Just take the
I just had to take this shit, bro. I swear to God.
Just take the strings down.
I just need to take it.
That's all she was gonna do.
All I need, bro, you know I don't give y'all problems like that, bro. I do not give you problems like that, Shorts, bro.
Many of us have visited state prisons unannounced across Florida, including Lowell. And I remember when Lowell didn't even have air conditioning for the pregnancy unit. And that was not that long ago, where they added air.
Say what you're about to see never should have happened. He was in the Pasco County Jail for a misdemeanor probation violation, alone in his cell when he was shot. Fox 13's investigative reporter Tina Jensen has the rest of the story and some dramatic video recorded by one of the corrections officers who was there. Tell us more, Tina.
Right, and that shooting was first reported in the Tampa Bay Times this morning. It left Matthew Trevino in the VA hospital for months, where he underwent multiple surgeries. And a warning, what happened is hard to watch.
The day Matthew Trevino arrived at the Pasco County Jail, he was alone in his cell when deputies wanted to search him. But Trevino, according to his attorney, who provided Fox 13 with this jail video, was in the midst of a schizophrenic episode and would not put his hands through the door.
Due to him refusing, we're going to deploy a Nova round.
A Nova round was created for situations like SWAT teams breaking into buildings. It's a distraction device, like a flashbang grenade, but fired from a shotgun. The company's own warnings say it's not supposed to be used to fire at humans or even animals.
There's no reason at this point that they have to force their way in to the cell. This is not an emergency situation. They certainly don't need to use this level of force. Later, when the officers file their reports, they claim that Mr. Trevino had backed away from the door and that the round ricocheted off the floor and struck him, which is just 100% false. And you can see it in the video as we continue.
I hope all of you have read the Department of Justice report on Lowell's prison, women's prison. Body cameras have been introduced to police officers across our land. I suspect Cheryl Weimar would not have been paralyzed by a guard, and Florida would not be subject to hundreds of lawsuits if guards were required to wear body cams. Florida cannot afford to not implement the use of body cams. Cameras protect the guards and our loved ones who honestly have been treated in a subhumane manner. Cameras will demand accountability.
You can see that when he fired at him, he was right up against the door. completely unnecessary.
Sheriff Chris Nacco, in a statement, called Trevino a man with a violent history whose failure to comply dictated their actions. Trevino has no violent crime convictions.
Were these deputies aware that?
Today, the Alabama Department of Corrections is responding to a letter from the Department of Justice. That letter says Alabama's prisons for men are unconstitutional because inmates are abused by prison staff. It's the second time within the last 18 months that the DOJ has accused the state of being unconstitutional. Today, the Department of Corrections says they are disappointed in the surprise manner in which the letter was released and that they have been vocal and proactive.
Currently, Florida spends more than $2.4 billion a year to incarcerate nearly 100,000 individuals. This does not include the millions of dollars from the lawsuits against FDC for alleged misconduct. I'm here today to ask you to pass.
Last chance.
Yeah, no.
You've been recorded. Last chance. Last chance. It's lock up. It's lock up.
Oh, it was what?
It's lock up.
Well, you're threatening me.
No, I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you it's lock up. I'm telling you I'm recording you via my camera and you need to lock up now.
Yeah, well,
or I'll put the phone down and we'll take you back to your cell.
What?
I'm telling you, or we'll put the phone down and I'll take you back to your cell.
I'll put the phone down myself.
We'll do it now because it's lock up.
Oh. No, I'm getting stinged around on you.
That inmate appears to have hit a metal bed in a toilet when he was thrown. Police.
They're here because they broke the rules in the free world. And if they continue to come into the prison system and be allowed to continue to break the rules, they haven't learned anything. So yes, we do have a discipline process. Yes, we enforce the rules. Is it a hellhole? Is it the worst thing in the world? No, ma'am.
In Lowell Correctional Facility, it's legal prostitution. It's like a brothel. It's like a predator's playground.
We're prey. It's like a lion with a bunch of gazelles. I mean, it's a perfect breeding ground for sexual predators.
There's a lot of hatred in this prison, and it's not the inmates, it's the staff.
Behind the razor wire fences of the nation's largest women's prison, complaints of rampant sexual, physical, and mental abuse are frequently reported by inmates against the very corrections officers put in place to guard them.
That we're out here in the rain because we care. Confinement, yeah, I love it.
Okay. And when you're beaten down every day verbally, when you're called names, when you're cursed at, when you're made to be felt like you're next to nothing, how are you supposed to repair your life?
Confinement before. I've been pushed to the ground and I broke my wrist and no one did anything about it. Also, I was, other things happened to me in here. Well, that's not really, can't talk about it, but yeah, it was bad.
For the most part, through our grievance process, everything that I see, very few of them are actually found to be legitimate. And
it doesn't matter how many people you put in admin, You can rotate it, you can fire, you can put new. It's still going to be the same on this compound. You got to take this place and shake it upside down and start brand new. Or bring the feds in. The feds are the only ones that are going to shake this place up and make it run right.
Lowell Correctional Institution inmates are protesting after a corrections officer was arrested and fired, accused of trying to poison an inmate. 28-year-old Lowell Correctional Institution officer Qualisha Williams bonded out of jail over the weekend. She's accused of spraying bleach in a drinking cup and trying to serve it to an inmate after the two got into an argument. Dozens of former inmates and supporters gathered outside the correctional facility over the weekend in Ocala to share their message with the community. They also want Williams to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and don't think just because she wore a badge she should be given leniency. Protesters say this isn't the only case.
They treated us like we were unimportant. Lockdowns, no water for 2 weeks. They were shipping water in.
With body cams worn by FDC staff, there will never be any questions as to what took place in any situation. Statistics have shown that the use of body cams in prison saved the taxpayers millions of dollars in unwarranted lawsuits and reduces the amount of inmate on staff, staff on inmate, assault, and excessive use of force claims. The use of body cams hold both the staff and inmates accountable. This tool has been proven effectively repeatedly throughout our nation.
Lowell Correctional in Ocala is the biggest women's prison in the country. And this new report from the Department of Justice is damning, saying, quote, sexual abuse of women prisoners by Lowell corrections officers and staff is severe and prevalent throughout the prison.
Hopefully this is step one to fixing all the corruption and things that happen at that prison that are not supposed to happen there.
Deborah Bennett was incarcerated at Lowell until 2018. She now leads the group Change Comes Now, which pushes for prison reform, and she was interviewed for the investigation. The DOJ found 161 sexual misconduct complaints at Lowell from the past 4 years, but only 8 ended with an arrest. It doesn't give the names, but one is clearly Keith Turner, who WESH 2 previously reported was accused of paralyzing an inmate during a beating and also arrested for molesting 2 young girls. The Justice report calls him a repeat sexual predator at the prison. Several other officers were accused of rape, sometimes over and over, though many were allowed to resign or the investigations never completed.
And you would see these young kids come in, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old, cute little girls coming in, and the staff just go right after them.
Bennett says anyone who reported abuse immediately was punished while the alleged attackers were allowed to keep working.
If you say someone's raped you, if you say someone's hit you, anything having to do with staff, we are handcuffed and we're taken to confinement.
The federal report confirmed that as well and incredibly found that, quote, during our site visits, supervisory staff warned some of the prisoners there would be negative consequences if they cooperated with the department's investigation. Bennett says these findings show Lowell is too broke to fix and that it needs to be shut down.
Because we have a 5-year campaign to shut that prison down. And I'm using this in my big bag of fire that I'm going to be throwing right back at the institution.
The Department of Corrections sent me a statement tonight saying it fully cooperated with the Department of Justice on that investigation and it will be sharing the actions it's taken to address those serious concerns.
And today these representatives saw the average conditions at Lowell. So you're talking about black mold, you're talking about building decaying to the point that it's a structural problem and could be a jeopardy to many people, including security and staff. You see rodents, you see roaches. You've got the pregnant women in Delta Dorm that has no air conditioning. You have got people that work in the kitchen who have air conditioned dorms. However, the pregnant inmates do not have air conditioning. Some do not get a snack. Most do not get any money for commissary. And so not only are they suffering, but the babies inside of them are suffering.
So in silence, we think that if they look in our eyes and they look at our poster boards, they'll see that this is a huge problem and it's got to stop. It's going to change. One protest at a time, we're going to make it stop.
So we're not here to villainize the Department of Corrections. Nope. Instead, we're here to Leave Lowell because I was tired of seeing all the corruption. I was tired of dealing with it, telling supervisors every day and day and night that there's dirty staff at Lowell and that they're not doing anything about it.
Continually being punished over and over and over again. They've already been sentenced to prison, and this is their punishment. So to dehumanize them and to abuse them is not okay. It's just not okay.
Vicki Pearl.
Ms. Pearl, you're recognized.
Thank you, and I appreciate all of you who stayed, because we've been waiting. Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to speak about expanding the use of body cameras with audio as well as video into all of Florida correctional institutions. At this time, they are only worn by officers that also carry stun guns or tasers. In 2018, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement said about 89 of Florida's police and sheriff's departments, including Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, wear body cams. Body cams worn by police officers have proven to help protect the lives of citizens and the officers. They have also helped in determining the facts of a situation. In recent news regarding Florida Department of Corrections, there have been several incidences that may not have occurred if officers had been wearing body cams. Body cams may have saved millions of dollars in lawsuits, but more importantly, saved lives and stopped the continual abuse of our incarcerated loved ones. Some examples are Cheryl Weimer, who was paralyzed as a result of injuries in 2019, which not only cost her a normal life, but cost taxpayers $4.65 million. John Picosa, a former guard, was awarded $135,000 in a settlement for being threatened by fellow guards for revealing that another guard gouged out an inmate's eye. Then we have the recent findings by the Justice Department about the beatings and continual rapes of female residents at Lowell. That may result in filing of civil rights lawsuits against the state. These are just a few of the illegal actions that take place in our prisons daily. The savings from lawsuits alone would help pay for the body cams. The extra level of safety would help in the hiring of much-needed staff. I am asking you to please, somebody, start writing a bill, and actually, I have a sample out there I meant to bring in. My friend Angie Hatfield from Forgotten Citizens has started putting a draft together on a bill. I have a copy to leave you all, and I know I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Pearl.
Thank you.
And Ms. Pearl, thank you for your patience and your advocacy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh.
Hold on, Ms. Pearl. Hold on. Representative Geller?
While the speaker is here, I just want to point out it's no accident, and it's not a shock, that so many speakers, one after another, are all talking about criminal justice reform. And I just want to say to you, Ms. Pearl, it is not lost on this delegation how many people are here to talk about that issue. It's not, you're not alone on it, and we are listening. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Representative Geller. Ms. Pearl?
TV, damage. Confiscating TV, 4A1. Item 2.
Years. Lowell Correctional is the largest women's prison in the U.S., and a DOJ investigation confirmed systemic sexual abuse against prisoners there for years, right up until this summer. In a rural part of Marion County, this is where most of the state's female prisoners serve out their sentences. But the findings in this 36-page Department of Justice report show for many, the punishment is cruel and unusual. It states the conditions at the Lowell Correctional Institution violate the 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution due to the sexual abuse of prisoners by the facility's staff, accusing the state of Florida, through the Florida Department of Corrections, of failing to keep prisoners at Lowell safe, and noting that despite being on notice of this sexual abuse since at least 2006, the Department of Corrections failed to fix the problems and protect the inmates. There are too many allegations of prisoner rape and manipulation in the report to list them all, but in one of the most recent, a sergeant was arrested and charged with sexual misconduct with an inmate as recently as April of this year. That same sergeant was accused of sexual abuse on a different prisoner in 2017. And even though the FDOC verified that prisoner's injuries, the agency never completed the investigation, and the officer remained employed until his arrest in July.
Being in a prison is punishment enough. You should not face sexual abuse while already experiencing the terms of your sentence.
State Representative Anna Escamani called for changes at Lowell alongside other state leaders outside of the prison a little more than a year ago, after 9 Investigates exposed the alleged beating of inmate Cheryl Weimar inside the facility. According to a federal lawsuit, the woman's injuries were so severe, she's now paralyzed. And 9 Investigates also uncovered how some pregnant prisoners say they felt pressured to give up their babies for adoption after attorneys admitted to offering commissary money to pregnant inmates inside the facility. Representative Escamani hopes after years of complaints over mistreatment, the Department of Justice's findings will finally be enough to force change.
Is unjust, is inhumane, and it's about time that DOC take these concerns seriously and do something.
And the abuse that's happening is escalating. People are getting hurt more. They're getting worse injuries, and it's not stopping. There's no arrest. The accountability that used to be in the prison system is left, and we want to change. So we want body cameras, and we want accountability to the staff. And
it's ranging from abuse, deaths, dorms filled with mold and vermin, and retaliation for reporting abuse. A new warden, Angela Gordon, was brought in to run the prison in March.
Started walking around and meeting the staff and looking at what they were doing and how they were doing it, and I found that just like every other place I've worked, there's a lot of good people here doing a lot of good things. Do we have bad apples? I'm sure we do. Every organization does. But the thing is, myself and my administration here in the department as a whole, we're stressing that that's not something that we're going to tolerate. If we find that a staff is doing something wrong, we're reporting it, we're letting it go through the process, and if it's determined that they are doing something, then we're utilizing the discipline process just as swiftly as we can to take care of that, up to and including termination in some cases.
If you want to believe that, go ahead. I don't live in fantasy land. I wouldn't say that there's only a few bad apples, because the majority of them. The new norm is constant threats. Do you want to eat dirt? You want to get sprayed? And you're an effing this and an effing that and an effing retard, and it goes on and on.
Showing lines of abuse going back many, many years.